upgraded in any way. Odyssey was holding her right shoulder.
The Indiana Fever finally broke through. After years of heartbreak and ridicule, they secured the playoff win fans had been waiting for. It should have been a moment of pure celebration. Lexie Hull's game-saving steal, Aaliyah Boston's dominance in the paint, Kelsey Mitchell's leadership carrying a short-handed roster. But instead of headlines about resilience and triumph, the spotlight veered in a shocking direction. A confrontation between Sophie Cunningham, injured, in a brace, nowhere near game-ready, and a league-hired security guard suddenly became the viral image of the night. And the question fans couldn't ignore. Was this just one clueless guard making a bad call, or proof that Sophie is being deliberately singled out?
Oh, Sophie, you're like that? Yeah, Chloe, she's like that. She's like that. She ain't moving. Oh, and then she puts her hands on the hip. Let me talk to your manager. Oh, shit. All right, Sophie, say no more. Say no more. Now, when your teammate gets injured, you're allowed to hop on the court and just to see if your teammate's doing good. So, injured, healthy. So, Chloe, Sophie, they had every right to be on the court over here.
On paper, this night should have been historic. Indiana, missing half their rotation and without Caitlin Clark, managed to topple expectations. The crowd roared as the Fever ended their long playoff drought. The story should have been about grit, teamwork, and redemption. Instead, the cameras caught something bizarre. Sophie Cunningham, standing quietly near midcourt, suddenly being treated like she was storming the floor mid-brawl. The optics were jarring, and fans immediately knew something was off. But the strange part? This wasn't just about Sophie being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Why in the F is that security guard all up on Sophie Cunningham? And look, I think there is a reason she got up in Sophie's face. And I don't think there was any need to sort of bow up to Sophie like that. I don't think, and to Sophie's credit, she did not back down at all.
Sophie wasn't even dressed to play. Rocking a heavy brace and limping, she was simply doing what injured teammates do, staying engaged, supporting her squad, making sure she was there in case someone went down. There was nothing confrontational about it. She wasn't instigating, wasn't stepping onto the floor, wasn't disrupting anything. Yet, for reasons no one could explain, a league security guard zeroed in on her as if she was the problem. And Sophie's response? That's where things took on a life of their own.
So Odyssey Sims goes down hard, and Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, Chloe Bibby are waiting for her at half court. And the cop tries to get Sophie Cunningham to move. Sophie Cunningham was like, "You're not gonna get me to move. I'm waiting for Odyssey." And you could see during the review, look at Sophie Cunningham clapping, not moving, waiting for her teammate. That's the Fever for you.
Out of nowhere, the guard marched towards Sophie, chest puffed, barking orders like she was breaking up a fight. Fans could see it live. An injured player, clearly unable to sprint if she wanted to, being treated like a threat. Sophie froze at first, stunned at the absurdity. Then her expression shifted. Confusion gave way to annoyance, and finally, the famous Cunningham glare. She didn't budge. She didn't cave. She stood her ground as if to say, "Really? This is how you're handling this moment?" And just like that, the clip was born.
Folks, I didn't realize how much fun I would have watching these people break down. It's a meltdown. It's a meltdown on Twitter today. It's embarrassing to a certain extent. Not for me, for them. And then we got the Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever getting booed as they're getting off their court.
What made the scene viral wasn't the guard's overreaction. It was Sophie's calm, unshaken defiance. She didn't lash out. She didn't yell. She simply stared him down, unwilling to back away from her own teammates. The glare said everything. "You won't intimidate me." That composure, cool, controlled, unbothered, made the confrontation more powerful than if she had exploded. But once fans saw the footage, the story was no longer about Sophie's composure. It was about what the WNBA was really doing.
Check this out right here. Yeah, you see this guy right here? Right in this genital area? You see this guy? The ref asked this dude to step out here. All right? Now, Cheryl Swoops wants this referee fired. She wants him fired. Look, he felt something. He felt something was amiss. Of course, Cheryl Swoops.
The clip hit Twitter and Instagram within minutes. Hashtags like #FreeSophie and #WNBA exposed started trending. Fans were outraged, not at Sophie, but at the league. Comment sections lit up with people asking why an injured player was being harassed during her team's biggest win in a decade. Some called it harassment, others labeled it intimidation. And nearly everyone agreed. It was unnecessary, unprofessional, and embarrassing. But buried beneath the outrage was something even bigger, a pattern fans couldn't ignore. This wasn't the first time Sophie Cunningham had been cast as the villain. For years, she's been painted as the league's troublemaker. Confident, outspoken, fierce. She doesn't soften her edges to make rivals comfortable, and she doesn't play the role of smiling mascot the league prefers. Because of that, every dust-up, every stare-down, every hard foul gets magnified. Instead of being praised for passion, she gets branded as a problem. This confrontation wasn't random. To her fans, it felt like the latest chapter in a long, unfair narrative. And they weren't wrong. Compare Sophie's treatment to others. When Angel Reese gets in an opponent's face, it's framed as swagger. When Paige Buchers shows fire, it's called leadership. But when Sophie, injured and standing still, refuses to move, suddenly she's being barked at by security. The hypocrisy couldn't be clearer. Fans immediately drew the comparisons online, asking why the league plays favorites. If another star had been in Sophie's shoes, the storyline would have been totally different. And yet the silence from the league was deafening. When other stars faced controversies, the WNBA and the Players Association rushed to defend them. But when Sophie was publicly humiliated, there was no official statement, no support, no acknowledgement. Fans were left to defend her on their own. That silence sent a message louder than words. Sophie Cunningham isn't one of the league's chosen ones. And if you think this was just about one bad moment, think again. This confrontation tapped into a bigger frustration fans have been shouting about for months. Caitlin Clark has taken harder fouls than anyone in the league, hacked, shoved, and targeted while refs swallow the whistle. Sophie has been cast as a villain even when she's trending for nothing more than her toughness. Time and time again, players who don't fit the WNBA's curated image are marginalized instead of celebrated. The Sophie fiasco wasn't isolated, it was evidence of a larger troubling pattern. And the fallout was about to get even worse. Far from diminishing Sophie, the viral clip made her more popular. Fans flooded her social media with messages of support, praising her toughness and her refusal to back down. She became the hero of the night, not for scoring a basket, but for standing her ground. Meanwhile, the league's credibility took another hit. What should have been a celebration of Indiana's grit became a PR disaster. And once again, instead of basketball, the WNBA was in the news for dysfunction. And here's the kicker. It wasn't just bad optics, it was bad business. Casual fans tuning in for Caitlin Clark saw nonsense instead of basketball. Clips of Sophie's confrontation went more viral than Lexie Hull's game-winning steal. The Fever's triumph, the very thing the league should have been promoting, was drowned out by security drama. For a league desperate for respect and mainstream growth, the moment was catastrophic. Instead of being celebrated for resilience, the WNBA was mocked for its own incompetence. And fans weren't letting it go. So how did Sophie respond? In classic fashion. While fans raged online, Sophie didn't explode. She didn't rant or complain. Instead, she handled it with humor and grace. In interviews, she brushed it off, even joking about sweating on the sidelines from nerves. She turned what could have been a bitter moment into another example of her authenticity. And that's why fans love her. Every time the league tries to diminish Sophie Cunningham, her popularity only grows. She's the underdog, the defiant figure who refuses to be silenced. And in the end, she walked away from the fiasco stronger than ever. The Sophie Cunningham versus security guard fiasco may have lasted only a few seconds, but it told fans everything they needed to know. This wasn't just about one guard making a bad call. It was about a league that continues to play favorites, continues to marginalize outspoken stars, and continues to trip over its own growth. Sophie was wronged. Fans know it. And the backlash isn't fading, it's building. The only question now is whether the WNBA will finally listen, or if it will keep sabotaging the very stars who make it relevant. So, what do you think? Was Sophie singled out? Let us know down in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the next breakdown.